What is going on, everyone? It's Scott back from Crypto or Us. Today we're going to be talking about Gladius Token. Dun, 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 GLA. Now, Gladius Token is currently trading at $1.14, up 7% on the day. We don't know its market cap. We don't know its circulating supply. It is a very new altcoin, and it only has 158,000 worth of trading volume in the past day, or the equivalent of a Maserati. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at where it's traded. It's currently trading on IDEX against the Ethereum pair. So it doesn't have much exposure right now in the market, but the coin itself is actually pretty interesting. So let's pop over to their website and see what it's all about. So Gladius, if you hear the term Gladius, what do you think? You think about gladiator, you think about a defender, you think about someone that's going to protect you, and that is exactly what it is. That's exactly what it aims to be. So Gladius aims to help websites and use its security and the blockchain to basically fight DDoS attacks. So if you guys are not familiar with DDoS, it stands for dedicated denial of service, and it's essentially where companies will, everyone has their website online and they're hosting at a particular hosting provider, and that hosting provider will allocate you a fixed amount of bandwidth speed so that you can get a good understanding of how many viewers can come to your website. So, for example, let's say you're a news outlet and your average daily volume of users is 50,000 users. So that website might allow you to have a spike to maybe 200,000 users. But what happens if you get 2 million users? Well, things like your website might not load, it might become really, really slow. And if your website goes down, that's essentially lost revenue, potential ad revenue that goes down the drain, and people might not come back because if they see that your website's down, that just looks bad. And it's essentially like closing your doors at a mall during the business hours, right? It just looks really, really bad for everyone. So Gladius aims to protect websites from being DDoSed. And it's a really cool technology. They're getting tons of press. All of these different media outlets have talked about them. And there seems to be a growing concern over the past 5 years for attacks. So they're talking about each attack on average is a $500,000 attack. So, if you talk about a big website, let's even talk about Dropbox. If Dropbox were to go down for a minute, I don't know how much money that would be, but we can talk about in the millions of dollars. Lots of Fortune 100 companies use Dropbox, and if they can't access their files, new subscribers can't hit their sites. Potential employees getting fired, or having to hire security people to figure out what exactly happened. It just accounts for over $150 billion in attack damages every single year, or in the past year. So there's over 300,000 attacks in 2017, which is a staggering number. I mean, there's billions and billions of websites out there, but 300,000 attacks. And these hackers, they're smart. They don't hit the small guys. They hit the people that they know they can do damage to. So they're working on the medium guys, and they're working on even some of the bigger guys because they've got huge botnets now where they can essentially have a command and control station. They have some software installed. Essentially, they use malware to deploy these bots across the whole world, and they essentially control computers to go out to these various websites and just do so much traffic that the servers essentially get overloaded. And what happens is the server doesn't know if the traffic is legitimate traffic or if the traffic is DDoS traffic. So it funnels all that traffic in, And what happens is people are essentially waiting in line now. So if you're a legitimate person and you're trying to wait in line to go to a website, you're going to get a loading bar. Maybe your page cannot be displayed. And eventually, that website's going to be getting inundated with so many bots that are going to be hitting it that the website's just going to go down. And we're seeing just an overwhelming amount of these DDoS attacks happening in the past years. And there are some content delivery networks, or CDNs. One that comes to mind is Cloudflare. And basically what these guys do is they sort of protect against botnets in a way where they can legitimize the traffic, figure out who is actually behind the scenes, who's actually hitting it, and kind of do a pretty good job in figuring out what traffic is deemed legitimate and what traffic is not. And the traffic that's not, it will let it go away, and that's how they call their DDoS protection. Now, there's obviously going to be a lot of technical details in CDNs that I'm not going to be covering. Cloudflare is the biggest one that I can think of, but Gladius aims to one-up Cloudflare in that it's going to have a designated distributed network all across the globe. And how they're going to do that is by essentially allowing you to lease out your free bandwidth that you're using, and you're essentially going to be part of their network. So when a website does go down, your computer, as well as the other millions of computers that are part of the network, will essentially has a cache of that website and will help the website stay up. So it's a really cool concept, and it allows for people to actually make money by their unused bandwidth. So we've covered other altcoins where basically you install some software and you can rent out your free storage. If you've got storage on your computer, you can rent out your CPU. If you've got tons of CPU that's just stagnant or kicking around. Let's say you're going to bed and you've left your computer on. Well, now you can generate some money. So this is that same concept, but it's with bandwidth. So the average Canadian, the average American, they've got a high-speed internet connection, anywhere from 20 to, I know I've got a 150 connection right now. That's 150 megabits per second. And basically, 9 times out of 10, I'm not using anywhere near my maximum unless I'm downloading a video, or if I'm streaming, or if I'm using Netflix or whatever. But the other 16 hours a day that I'm not using my computer, that bandwidth is just sitting vacant and it's sitting unused. So why not tie into that and make some money by delivering extra bandwidth to the Gladius global decentralized content delivery network? So right now, there is tons of CDNs out there that are available, but they're expensive. They're really expensive, but businesses understand the need for them, so they pay top dollar to make sure that their website doesn't go down. But look at this. They have this really nice chart where you can essentially figure out, now these are estimates, and they do specifically mention that they don't do any guarantees, but this is just a nice little rough graphs here, right? So we've got, let's say I've got 150 megabits per second, which is my connection. And daily uptime, 24 hours. I can make $740 a month by doing nothing. Now, this calculator to me is somewhat deceiving, because this connection that I'm actually paying my internet service provider, I only pay $100 a month, give or take, for this internet connection. Yet through Gladius, I can make $740. So I don't know if they have their numbers down pat, if this is actually going to be practical. But simply the fact that you can make cash by doing nothing and just letting your server or your desktop just run an application in the background and use your unwanted bandwidth while you're sleeping. It's a pretty cool concept to me. Now, Gladius has tons and tons of traction here. Now, this is just a quick overview. Scale your protection with ease by changing to a new protection pool. Rent out bandwidth. Majority of internet connections go unused most of the time. Make money putting it to good use by using it as a Gladius node. Create pools, set prices, manage nodes, and make money. So there's going to be kind of a, call it an open market for this. So if I'm willing to rent out my space or rent out my bandwidth for, 2 cents and someone else is willing to rent it out for 3 cents, well, obviously I want to pay the cheap price. So the person will go to the 2-cent provider. So it kind of makes it an open market, which is why I think these numbers are extremely skewed right now. But it doesn't really matter what it is. You're kind of, I guess this is a similar concept to kind of P2P and like torrenting and stuff like that, where essentially everyone downloads, but the faster that you can download is based on people's upload because they already have it and they're pre-sharing it. So why not help out and do so? So now, by using industry-leading techniques, Gladius stops denial of service attacks before they even get close to your server, and you can see real-time traffic and speed in their reports. So, that is Gladius. All it is a simple desktop client that you install on your computer, and the software does the rest. It takes care, it figures out what the unwanted bandwidth is, and you can probably set schedules to it. So essentially when you're at home and you're actually wanting to use it, you can just turn it off and it's only enabled when you want to sleep. So here's their team. They've got a pretty decent sized team, lots of advisors on it. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it looks like they are from Great Britain. So that is Gladius. Let me know what you guys think about this coin. I think it's a really cool technology. Right now, the big content delivery network providers, the reason it's so expensive is because they have to have their own dedicated servers and their own bandwidth allocated such that they rent it out and they make a profit on it. So like I said, I've done reviews for other coins in the past where you're renting out your CPU, you're renting out your unwanted storage, and this just happens to be renting out your unwanted bandwidth. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please remember to subscribe. We're going to be coming out with crypto videos every single day, telling you which ones to buy and which ones to stay away from. And Gladius has lots of promising attributes to it. I think it's going to be a great year for Gladius. And I can't wait to stay tuned and see what the hype is all about. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.